Hello everyone, the Green Scorpion here, and after copious delays and setbacks, Weapons Month 3 is just around the corner. Seriously guys, thank you for your continued patience. We have 5 more top 10s coming up, and to whet your appetite for another month of martial ranking, I present to you this little list I like to call 10 more Weapon Masters. I've been reading the comments under the last 10 weapon countdowns, and it seems that despite my best efforts, I can never please everyone. I'm always leaving out someone's favorite sword-swinging, guitar-playing, headshotting warrior. And you know what? That's okay. I stand by my choices for the last 10 countdowns, but some deserving characters got left out. Either I hadn't played the game yet, their game hadn't come out at the time, I wasn't crazy about them at first, or I just plain forgot about them. So I'm going to go through the past weapons that I've done in no particular order, and give you some wielders that I think could have made the cut. These aren't necessarily the 11th best in every category, or an end-all be-all to this discussion. Just a chance to briefly talk about some more characters, and admit that my lists aren't completely comprehensive. I write about characters I like, or I find deserving. So, if you find that your favorites are still missing, hey, continue to tell me about them in the comments, just don't be a jerk about it. So, present arms. Here are 10 more Weapon Masters in gaming.
What's the problem?
I'm nervous. What have I hit her?
It's too late for nerves, Rolf. If you're not up to it, just leave it to the master, eh? Watch and learn. One clean motion. No hesitation.
So, I've been playing a lot of Skyrim lately. So much to do, so much to see, and so many playstyles to try. Like any Elder Scrolls game, there's a lot of fun to be had as a rogue. You can be a real terror with a bow, and you can loot enough money off of NPCs to get 7 kids through college. But I can't just put Dovahkiin on this list, so let's talk about the character that best embodies archery in Skyrim. This is Karliah. Karliah is a member of the Nightingale Trinity, an elite trio of Thieves Guild members. When you first meet her, she is exiled from the guild, allegedly for killing her lover and the former guildmaster Gallus. By taking quests from her, you can defeat Mercer, the real culprit of the murder, and restore Karliah to her rightful place in the guild. Her weapon of choice, the Nightingale bow, is in some ways the best bow in the game, starting at a whopping level 46 and adding shock damage, frost damage, and a 50% chance to slow her arrows. She doesn't spend a lot of time with you, but she can be a follower for a short time. Before she entrusts you with her quest, you'll find yourself in the middle of the squabble between Mercer and Karliah, and she shoots you with a poison-tipped arrow. There's no possible way to avoid this arrow, and it has the Juliet effect of slowing your heartbeat to make you appear dead, which keeps Mercer from killing you shortly afterward. It's a little complicated, but from talking to her afterward, you see just how quickly Karliah's mind processes when she has a shot to make. Unable to get a clear line of sight on Mercer, she weighed her options and calculated how to non-lethally shoot you to save your life in that fraction of a second, always having an invisibility potion in her back pocket in case she needs to escape. If you want to be a rogue in Skyrim, Karliah is a pretty good role model. I decided for the Spear Wielder's edition to go with the character most suggested in the comments, Judith from Tales of Vesperia. She didn't really make the cut for me last time, but looking at her again, I find a lot of subtleties that make her fighting style stand out. And some non-subtleties. Earlier in the game, Judith is encased in armor atop the dragon-like, whale-like companion Baul, and is seeking to destroy all of the magical MacGuffins created by her brilliant father. Given her ruthless, anonymous appearance, she is called only the Dragon Rider. Later on, she joins Brave Vesperia wearing significantly less, and waffles between her mission of destruction and her new loyalty to the party. Judith's use of the spear is interesting. I mean, she's kind of doing it wrong. She only ever holds the spear in one hand and swats with the spearhead. In real-world logic, this would be a terrible technique as it would reduce the power of each blow and risk breaking the spear on impact. Plus, it kind of prevents her from actually stabbing with it. It makes more sense when she sometimes uses a staff or a broom to fight. But results speak louder than logic, and this game's laws of physics completely support her methods. For a spear wielder, she has a surprising affinity for aerial combos, working some windmill kicks into her odd spear swatting, and with the faux magic arts throwing in wind and lightning. I especially like her ability Moonbeam. Wherever she casts it from, she will immediately materialize above her target to deliver a cane-like dragoon drop, and can just as easily dissipate away. Look, I'm sorry I left you out of the Weapons Month Club before, Judith, But hey, now you and Raven can finally be together. I gave the Mega Man series a bye on the first Bombardier list, mainly because I was having trouble picking one explosive robot out of the common herd. Wanting to avoid missiles and focus on thrown projectiles, I still had Crash Man, Grenade Man, Burst Man, and Napalm Man to consider, and that's just the classic series. At first, Bomb Man from Mega Man 1 seemed too obvious, but now that I contemplate on it, he actually is the best example. Kind of like a simplified Bomberman, Bomb Man can produce an infinite number of round, bouncy explosives. He was made for the sake of demolition, but Dr. Wily stole him away and made him a tool for... well, he was always a tool for destruction, but now he was evil. What wins Bomb Man the position here is the remake Mega Man Powered Up, in which you can actually play as Bomb Man. He and his bionic boss buddies also now have dialogue and basic personalities, and while he's not exactly a nuanced character, Bomb Man's also not as one-note as Fireman or Elec Man. He's just kind of a hot-headed yet rationally thinking bot who really likes bombs. I mean, really likes bombs. He even shouts bombs every time he starts a stage. And I don't normally do this for Robot Masters, but let's look at his Battle Network incarnation. Bombman EXE is more imposing and produces bombs supposedly from his shoulders. He's not really a challenging opponent even on his second rematch, but he's got some neat things going for him. Mainly his ability to drop multiple bombs at once, use them as cover, and kick them at Mega Man when he sees fit. So let's call it a tie between Classic Bomb Man and Battle Network's Bombman EXE. Or better yet, let's just shout out bombs. Okay, a lot of people were disappointed with my exclusion of Garrus Vakarian from the top 10 snipers. Recently I've gotten through the Mass Effect trilogy and now I can confirm that Garrus, scientifically speaking, is pretty damn awesome. A Turian soldier, Garrus is first seen as a member of Scythe, the law enforcement organization on the Citadel, and is put in charge of investigating Saren Artorias, who the Council believes may be a betrayer. To simplify an extensive story, Saren is a major antagonist of the game who is using his position as Spectre to further his own agenda. Garrus is a charming guy in person, not to mention a great dancer, but a ruthless fighter when the gloves come off, and he spends most of the series struggling with the procedure of a C-Sec agent, getting frustrated when they keep him from getting his target, and even more so when they protect scoundrels like Saren. Garrus sees Saren as a disgrace to the Turian species, but on a deeper level he rather envies his power to work outside of the law. Not much is known about his background other than his father being very by the books, thus creating his inner duality between lawful and chaotic good. His real personality shines through when he holds a gun. Garrus is the only available party member with the class Turian Agent, which is much like an infiltrator, but more glass cannon-like. He is proficient with assault rifles and sniper rifles, anything that puts him far away from his target. His powers mainly involve powering up his next shot. He can fire concussive shots, his bullets can pierce armor, and he can even overload electronic targets to shut down pesky shields or overheat the enemy's weapons. With the right teammates to line up his shots, this Deadeye proves to be one of the best snipers in the galaxy. Garrus, you can leave C-Sec, but you'll never leave our hearts. Piastol from Skies of Arcadia would have totally made it onto the Scythe Wielder's list if I wasn't so distracted by Manny Calavera's suave demeanor. Actually, Piastol isn't even in the original Skies of Arcadia for the Dreamcast, but was added for the remake Skies of Arcadia Legends, which I highly recommend over the original. Known as the Angel of Death, Piastol is a pirate hunter, taking revenge on pirate kind due to a traumatic event in her childhood. With Scythe in hand, she doesn't discriminate between a murderous black pirates from the philanthropic blue rogues. She just wants them all dead. You'll fight Piastol many times aboard her ship, and if you're unprepared, you'll understand just how she earned her illustrious title. Her damage is through the roof! Keeping to her Grim Reaper theme, she has mastery over the spells Eterni, Eternus, and Eternum. These spells all give a chance to instantly kill the target, and due to Piastol's high will stat, their success rate is disconcertingly high. As for her physical attacks, Her combination of Scythe, spiked shoes, throwing knives, and assistance from her trusty venomous Death Hound make her final bout one of the toughest encounters in the game. One last interesting note, her two special moves, Tempest Dance and Deluge, are direct foils to Vi's the protagonist and his moves Cutlass Fury and Rain of Swords. And given her backstory, it all paints her as a sort of anti-Vi's. Except, you know, she has a scythe and I don't think Vi's would go out dressed like that. Oh, please no one draw that. I've been really getting into the Persona series lately, particularly Persona 4 and the fighting game spin-off Persona 4 Arena. And it's in that spin-off that I found a new axe wielder, a mechanical maiden named Labris. This fully functional female fighter is number 031 in a line of weapons designed to fight shadows, equipped with human-like intelligence, adaptable emotions, and the ability to wield a persona. Her persona is Ariadne, which in fashion with the series has a lot of neat mythological significance. But given her choice of weapon, they could have made her persona Clytemnestra, because she used a double-sided axe to... oh, just look it up! Her name Labris actually refers to a kind of double-bladed axe that was used in ancient Crete, much like the weapon seen here. But I don't think the Cretians had thrusters in their axes that granted them flight. Said thrusters can also be used individually to add more angular force to Labris' devastating swings. Labris is a low-speed, high-damage kind of fighter, but her unique weapon comes with a unique mechanic called axe tears. The more Labris' attacks connect, even if they're blocked, the more the axe heats up, increasing its thruster's power and, as a result, the damage output. Add in her ability to throw the axe and extending chain arm, and you have a robotic reaver that should be feared by humans and shadows alike. Since Weapons Month 2, a little game came out for the infant Wii U, and if you've watched any of Quarter Guy's videos within the past year, you know that I'm referring to the wonderful 101. It's an acquired taste, but Platinum Games once again provides an experience like no other, and a cast of characters that completely screws with my previous weapon rankings. Case in point, Wonder Pink. The Wonderful Ones defy convention with their giant weapons and the sheer scale at which they do battle. A Romanian acrobat, Wonder Pink joins the Sentinels to protect the world from alien invasions. Like the other heroes of the game, this masked maiden can harness the righteous energy of her teammates to create a giant light construct. In her case, increasing the size and power of her weapon, the Beautiful Whip. The Beautiful Whip is made from a rare Belmont alloy. Oh, very cute guys, she's from Transylvania too. And when charged with the power of the other Wonderful Ones, it becomes an immense thorn-covered fuchsia flail capable of ripping spikes off of metal and decapitating colossal mechs. I'm not a huge fan of the shameless fan service with the only lead female in the game, but I have to admit, this diva has style. In the hammer category, I know a lot of people have been hoping I would talk about Wonder Yellow. I love this guy, but since Wonder Pink is already an entry for this video, I'm going to back up and utilize a character I considered for the original list, Shao Kahn the Conqueror. Sent by the Elder Gods to guard Outrealm, the Warlord instead uses his power to enslave several planes of existence and devour countless souls. As per the rules of Mortal Kombat, Shao Kahn starts many battles fighting empty-handed, but give him a moment and you're sure to see him summon his favorite mallet, the Wrath Hammer. Considering that Shao Kahn has unparalleled strength, mastery over the dark arts, and can actually create any weapon he wants out of green energy, it means a lot when he still wants a physical version of his particular sledgehammer. It reminds me of people who don't like downloading games because they like filling their shelves with physical copies. In most MK games, has the ability to summon the hammer out of thin air, but from Deception onward, he is able to wield the hammer freely as his weapon style. He can stun even the most resilient of foes, knock them away with a single swing, has broken through walls and even Molina's magical barrier, and he was throwing hammers before Chris Hemsworth made that a thing. With his sinister sledge always in hand or floating nearby in hammer space, Shao Kahn nearly succeeded in conquering Earthrealm. But then Raiden hit the reset button and sent everyone back in time. Shao Kahn, you probably shouldn't have gloated for too long. That's how we beat you every time. Swordsman is a very competitive category, but how the heck did I forget Gray Fox? Seriously, a cyborg ninja who can turn invisible and casually walk down the hallway making guards explode? But since my first weapons month, I think another cyborg ninja has usurped Gray's throne. Raiden, how far you've come. I never really hated you, but I wanted to be Snake in Metal Gear Solid 2, and I was stuck with you doing naked cartwheels. Then you come back in Metal Gear Solid 4, suddenly a complete badass, and then you get your own game and... Well, damn. Yeah, you remember Metal Gear? The Doomsday vehicle that we spent the whole game to take down just one? Could you just go on and slay 10 of those for me? Okay, thanks, bye. This Robo-Samurai can easily slice metal structures into ribbons, parry attacks from monsters the size of St. Paul's Cathedral, and occasionally holds his sword on his feet to blade kick enemies like Chun-Li and stilettos. He can stealth his way into quiet kills, but is always ready for a bombastic anime-style clash that levels cities. But what really endears me to Raiden is how far he's come in popularity. After your awkward introduction in Sons of Liberty, Raiden is finally a fan favorite. And it only cost him an arm and a leg.
This is for real.
If you're trying to give me a headache, it's working. Now it's lesson time.
You know, I thought I was being pretty clever compiling a list of characters who fight with musical instruments, but had I waited a little longer, Skullgirls would have introduced a character that completely redefined my list.
You will be prosecuted to the full extent of the jam.
A former beat cop, Ben Birdland suffered serious injuries and was to live the rest of his life in an iron lung. However, the anti-Skullgirl labs offered to rebuild him with a new mechanical body, an array of pneumatic weaponry, and yeah, why not, an awesome jazz theme. Added as a DLC character, Big Band is the first man to be playable in Skullgirls. And can we take a moment to appreciate how refreshing that is? A male character being blessed to join a woman-dominated roster? Progress! It's happening! Not to value quantity over quality, but the character designers really married themselves to the musical concept. I mean, just watch this guy fight! He himself is a giant saxophone, his arms are bassoons, his knees are trombones, he has a unicycle made out of a tambourine and rocket thrusters powered by snare drums. He can shield himself with a cymbal, he can construct an ensemble of trumpets that fire mortars, he charges by enveloping himself in a big French horn, and after all that, he still has room for clarinets, sousaphones, organs, triangles, church bells, bagpipes, freaking bagpipes! Guys, if you had told me that you were working on this character, I would have waited a year to release this list. I mean, this is freaking brilliant! So, there you have it. I really wanted a chance to revisit a few videos that helped me get a lot of subscribers, but most of all, I wanted to give you guys a little something extra for waiting so patiently for my videos, especially Weapons Month 3. The continued support and encouragement has not been lost on me, and I hope to continue bringing you guys some thoughtful material about our favorite hobby. I am the Green Scorpion, and Weapons Month 3 is coming right at you. See you guys then.